right, let's dive to that particular discussion. And of course, right here in studio, I have two amazing gentlemen, Mr. Titus Mboya, the National Woodball Head Coach, and Samuel Litaba, the Secretary General of Kenya Federation Woodball. Well, gentlemen, I will start with you, Titus, and I'll give you at least 1 minute for your open introduction. Of course, I know you, but Kenyans are just want to know, who is Mr. Titus?
Mboya Titus is my name. I'm the national coach of Kenya Woodball, and I also double as the treasurer of the Kenya Woodball Federation. Being a national coach, I'm in charge of the national team, and more so also the spread of the whole game nationally. So spreading the game, apart from those who help me like Mr. Litaba, I spearhead so much on the spread of the game so that everyone at home will come to understand what Woodball is. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Litaba, your opening statements, and you can give us some brief history about Woodball when it was started here in Kenya and the journey so far.
Okay. So I'm Samuel Litaba, the Secretary General of Kenya Woodball Federation. And Woodball began in Kenya. Actually, the first person to play Woodball, a Kenyan, was in 2006. But for the game to start off officially, it was around 2009 when we had the first course in Kenya. But the game took some time to pick up. 2011, we had our first international competition, just the first two games in Uganda, just the Africa University Games. Yeah, so that was the first game we played. But for some time after that, the game had a lull. So it's about 6 years ago that we picked up again and now began pushing seriously to prepare teams for international competitions. And we have had several. I think we'll look at them as we go along.
Okay. Well, Samuel as a man, tasked, pardon me, Titus as a man tasked with the responsibility of, spreading the Woodball message and even the gospel, we call it the gospel of it, to different parts of the Kenya. In your own opinion, how would you say, what has made Woodball so special compared to any other sports?
Woodball is a special game. My colleague loves calling it a poor man's golf. But Woodball is easier to learn. And as you saw in the videos before, those two students, they came and found us playing. And the captain of Kenyatta University, Stephen Mwendwa, trained them 1 hour and they played very well. So Woodball is a special game. From the age of 5 to 10, you can start playing Woodball. And you even play when we go to Taiwan, we get the corporate level, they have the veterans. They play even up to 90 years of age. So compare Woodball to football. How will you get a 90-year-old playing football? It will be too hard. But for Woodball, it is a sport that can be embraced by everybody. In Woodball, we take every player as a family, so that we take the young ones, we call them the juniors, the seniors, and the corporates. How special is Woodball? Woodball is a simpler version for golf. In fact, the guy who started Woodball was a golfer. So he copied most of the rules for golf, and they are used in Woodball. So if you ever dreamed of playing golf, we say golf is a high-end sport. We welcome you to Woodball so that you can also make your dream come true.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I would love to know how, especially here in Kenya, it began and the formation of the league until where it is right now. What are some of the metrics that we need to know about Woodball as far as, competitive league is concerned?
Competitively, we have an ongoing league and also the circuit. Currently, our Kenyan league this year will begin in September. We are beginning September because most of our players are university students. So when universities resume, that's when we will start. It will go all the way to late March or early April next year, so that we have different universities playing Woodball. We have like Kenyatta University, Mount Kenya University, JKUAT playing. We have Meru. We also have Technical University of Mombasa, Taita Taveta University. We have Pwani University on board. We also have Kibabi playing. There are other universities before COVID, the likes of Cooperative University, Multimedia University, that were playing. But with the setback of COVID, we are planning, God willing, September, we come back to them. But competitively, we are also competing at African level. Now we can happily brag that Kenya is the African champion in Woodball. It has taken us a while to replace Uganda, because Uganda has played for so long, but now we are African champions. We also have World Cup competitions. The last World Cup we were in Uganda during the Beach Woodball World Cup. This year in July we were supposed to go for another World Cup, but it was supposed to be hosted in Malaysia, but Malaysia and those Far East countries are down on lockdown because of the COVID.
Well, even before we come to World Cup and all the international competition, first of all, let's get the real issue here on the ground. And of course, as far as making or rather popularizing the Woodball, especially in Kenya, owing to the conversation right here, it seems like just common in institutions, like let's say universities, or about the grassroots level. Is there some kind of mechanism in place? And from where you sit as a Secretary General, there are plans to make sure the game spreads to other parts of the country, especially in the grassroots level, because you might find like there is so many talented players there that probably if given a chance they would want to play Woodball, but because of that lack of exposure, it's become difficult to even identify talent.
Okay. Now, part of the issues that we struggle with are the equipment, because equipment for a long time we have been importing. First of all, we were importing from Taiwan, and more recently, Uganda has also been selling to us the equipment. So the equipment is relatively, well, not very costly, but relatively to most Kenyans, it's a bit expensive. Yeah, so that's why the institutions have picked up faster, because they are able to buy the equipment and play the game of Woodball. And then it is easier for them to sponsor their teams, to come for the leagues and so on. But we're also working out clubs. You can see there the Taifa Club. I'm also a member of that club. So we have 2 clubs in Kenya, apart from the universities, and we are hoping to spread to more clubs. At the moment, our main focus is with the learning institutions. Apart from universities, we now want to go to primary school and to secondary school, because at the East Africa level, Uganda are the only teams that have the only country with teams at the secondary level for the East Africa Games. Yeah, so but we are trying to encourage Tanzania to come up with a team, Kenya also to come up with our teams, so that we can play at the school level. That would help to improve the game, so that people start playing earlier and then they pick up the game and move on. So then we have the corporate level, where we have now the people like us now who are in the working world. Yeah, so we play at that level, the corporate level. Those who are still young are called seniors. Those are the seniors, and then we have the juniors. So we are also working on the corporate level. Yeah, that's why we are building the clubs, so that the corporate people can come in and play the game of Woodball.
Okay, you talk about importing equipment. Just how expensive is it?
It's expensive because anyway, even the times we get equipment from Taiwan, it's when we go for a game there. That's when we are able to get some equipment. And of course, since luggage is limited on the plane, we can only carry maybe 2 bags per person, to come back with to Kenya. But then because Uganda have been producing, we have been buying from them. But we are working out so that Kenya can also produce the Woodball equipment, and so that we can be able to make it easier to reach to the grassroots. With the Woodball game. Yes.
Okay. Now, talking about Taifa Club, probably for any players that maybe want to join the Taifa Club, where is it located, and which procedure do you use in terms of selecting players? How is it?
Since it's a young club, we don't have limited conditions for us to join. Remember, a new sport, if you're too strict, players will not come. So we are located around Kenyatta University. Taifa Club's headquarters is at KM. That's where, before it was Taifa Club, we used to call it the Wazee Club. So that we decided not to be too limited to Wazee. So we opened it to be a Taifa. Because last month, that is in June, even the captain of ZIL, we have another club called ZIL, he's called David Mungai, joined us to Uganda during the Ndeje Woodball Championship, but he played as Taifa Club. So it's still a younger club. We are encouraging more players to come on board so that they can also join and be part of Taifa. However, we still encourage players, since Woodball is now spreading across all counties, we encourage players who have finished school and they still want to play Woodball. They can still form their clubs at the county level and get registered so that we can help spread the gospel of Woodball.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Litaba, many might call you, the father of sports, especially here in Kenyatta University. You have been at the core center of pushing and advocating for more sports. This one particular, this one, the Woodball, of course, you have been at the core front, and a lot you have been pushing, and you're so passionate and enthusiastic about this particular sport. How does it feel to be part of a legacy?
Well, I love it when I see young people playing. I'm just very happy to see them playing because that means that time they would have been spending doing other things which are not helpful to them. So at least they're able to play and mix with their studies. So that makes me very happy. And to know that one day when I exit, I'll have left a legacy behind. There'll be sports that are going on that I helped to begin. And at least if I look back, I can talk of Woodball, rollball, and I can also talk of women's rugby. I'm the one who started it in Kenyatta University. So we have tried to spread it in the universities, but it has been difficult. But Woodball is easier to deal with because with one bag, which is 2 mallets, 1 gate, that is the small goal you score in, and 1 gate, 1 mallet, and 2 balls, you are able to run a club. Okay. People are able to play, they just take turns. Some 2 people play, then another 2 people play, and so on. So with that, it's enough to run a club or an institution team.
Okay.
Yes.
So for how long have you been, the national head coach?
I've been from 2019 when we first hosted the first Africa Woodball Championship at USIU. That's the first time I was in charge as the national coach. And I remember very well I said that one day we will be the African champions because we lost to Uganda by then with only 2 strokes. Woodball is funny. anytime you hit them, when you hit the mallet with the ball, that is one stroke. So at the end of every game, the one who has the least strokes, even if it means with one, that one becomes the winner. So imagine for them, the whole Ugandan team had 470, and we had 472. So we only lost with 2. So from 2019, then there was COVID, so we had to, by the ministry guidelines, we had to suspend games. So we returned, and I also was in charge during the second Africa Woodball Championship that was at JKUAT. That is where we hammered them proper. There was a difference of almost 45 strokes. That shows an improvement.
Okay.
Yes.
So far, how has the journey been? From that time up to now, that after falling behind Uganda, and now you marshaled your support and you came and actually, you revenge. And from the time you joined Woodball until now, how has the journey been so far?
The journey has been fine as far as performance has been concerned, but we've had several challenges. Like just like an hour ago, we have left a friendly between Kenyatta University and USIU playing, but we had to let ladies play first so that they share the few equipments available. So after they finished the first 12 fairways, we had now to play so that we would come here and continue with the show. But imagine how I pray that we get facilitation so that at least we have one mallet, ratio of one mallet, one ball to one player, so that when we have every player has his or her equipment, that is the biggest dream. So the journey in terms of equipment, that has been the bigger challenge. But in terms of performance, my players are ready. Just to take you back, when we went for the Ndeje competitions in Uganda in June, we had June this year, we had one player called David Mungai. Imagine one player visiting another nation in all the pools. Then he manages to reach the finals. So what if we had money and took like a whole army of my players? They are even scared because our next event, we will have in October this year, we will go back to Uganda at Mbale City for the 13th Uganda Woodball Championship. So they are coming to revenge until their dream is to replace us at the top. And after that, we are also having November for the 6th Kenya International Woodball Championship that will be held at Masinde Muliro University. So we will go to their place and show them dust. They will still come and hope to do the same. But also in December, we will have the Eastern Africa sports university sports in Ndeje University. So it is a tug of war to replace who are the top. But I'm also happy as a coach because despite of the limited resources, our Woodball players, I salute them. They always do the necessary. Yeah. So how I pray as a national coach that this sport gets facilitation like the other sports. Think of rugby, think of athletics, think of football, think of the others already, the safari rally. Imagine if we ever got such sponsorship. We will also spread tourism in terms of sports for this country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's come to you, Mr. Litaba. Why is it so, an uphill task to get to marshal resources to support the team? What is it that, as a federation, you haven't done to make sure the players and all the technical bench coaches, they get the support that they need?
Well, our father and mother is the Ministry of Sports.
Okay.
They have recognized us. We are registered by them. But somehow it has taken a bit long for them to sponsor us because we keep requesting, we give in our requests, but the problem is there are games that are more familiar And those are easily sponsored. Last year we almost got sponsored, yeah, because the ministry had accepted to sponsor us for the Africa Championship, which we hosted at Jomo Kenyatta University. But somewhere in the middle, some politics came up after we had stayed in camp for over 2 weeks. Then some politics came up, and eventually the sponsorship was withdrawn. But we hope they will take care of the bills that were left behind. But that is part of the problem. But for the corporate world, the Woodball game is still it's a new concept to them. Yeah, so they are not very sure. So we have approached them, and we'll keep on approaching them so that they can be able to help us. Recently, during the Africa University Games, we were able even to introduce the game to the First Lady of this country. She was able to touch a mallet, tee off. Yeah. So we hope from there now we'll be able to get more help from friends, well-wishers, partners, and the corporate world.
All right. Well, that seems to be a long-term, expected even solution. But right now, how do we, or rather, how do you face the elephant in the room? Because at the end of the day, players need to play, they need to travel, all those logistics at one point, they must be catered for. So right now, what's the plan?
For the time being, players have been sponsoring themselves with a little help from the federation. Like the games we played in Deje, at Kampala, those ones, people sponsored themselves, and the federation chipped in a little bit so that they can travel to Uganda and play there. So that's the reason why I was telling you, mainly it's the institutions that are playing, because they are able to sponsor their players, they are able to buy the equipment. Yeah, but for us to spread wider, then we need support to be able to reach out to the villages, to reach out to the counties, to reach out to all corners of Kenya. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what does being a leader in sports teach you about life?
It teaches me about patience. Whoever wakes up and joins a new sport today and wants to get the fruits, he's dreaming. But Woodball has taught me to be patient, because Woodball has been my dream. The one day I'll walk the streets of this Nairobi and I hear people say sports pay. There's a challenge I always tell my players when we train around in KU, and then there's rugby, then you'll find everyone has packed his car coming to play rugby. So I always tell my players to be patient, that someday we will be driving to our own place for the Kenya Woodball Federation with a sports complex, so that we will be having a bigger place to train more people on a large scale how Woodball is played, so that Woodball will pay them. But for us to reach there, we have to be patient. So as a sports leader, about patience and perseverance. Despite of the challenges we are passing through, someday we will be there. We will be there and celebrate the way others are celebrating right now. But for that to come and happen, we need to sacrifice even the midnight oil so that we make it someday. We are building, the way my colleague said, he will have left a legacy. So we help him to build that legacy, so that right now you see the hard challenges we are going through. Some people will come and celebrate in the near future, but before that happens, we need to lay down the roadmap so that we manage to come through.
Well, there is another, the elephant in the room, and this is the infrastructure and capacity building. Owing to the standards that we have here in Kenya, do you think like we are at a level that I can see like we are preparing to play, you know, the World Cup? Do you think we are at par as far as infrastructure is concerned, whereby you can now clearly say like we are at you know, equal level playing ground?
If I compare Kenya to other nations playing football, we are at a better place so far in terms of performance, but we still need more facilities. Because when we compare Taiwan has a full sports complex with their own grounds for training, strictly for football. Because football, we need a nice ground. You've seen the ground playing that cricket plays on. That is the best facility we need to have. And we don't need to have only one. We need to have one in the coast so that those people at the coast should be playing on it. We also need to have several in Nairobi, in Western Kenya, so that when we have international competitions, we meet the standards. You see, like football, where for you to host a World Cup, you need to have, apart from security, you need to have parameters like how big is your stadium. But we will reach there. But for now, we are struggling because I haven't seen around a fully playing ground like cricket. That is the best for football. So we are asking for a miracle from facilitators, and we call them friends of football, so that we can compete with the international players and manage to bring back home goals. Yeah.
Maybe just to add, this week we played an international game online. It's called online football. Yeah.
Okay.
So you measure 3 meters and you hit the ball in and score. There's a goal. You place the goal down there. We call it the gate. So you gate 3 meters, then you score. So whoever scores more times becomes the winner.
Online.
Yes, yeah, because you catch it on camera so that they can see as you play. Yeah, and we came second in the world.
The world.
just this week.
Who was first?
Taiwan.
Taiwan. So actually, Taiwan probably they are the most, you know, dominant team in the football.
Yeah, in terms of performance, sometimes you can get Taiwan on top or Chinese.
Okay.
Also, Uganda have been there. They have disciplined those guys also.
Mm-hmm.
So, but since Taiwan being the owner of the football concept, I'm sure they are advantaged because they started earlier. Woodball started in 1990. Then actively 1993, that's when rules were introduced. And look at us, 6 years actively, and then you're competing with someone who started in 1993. So he's way, it's like now starting to compete on is it a relay with someone who already started 2 minutes before you.
Okay.
So, but they are advantaged than us, but we will get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that the underdogs can, you know, rub shoulders with the masters of the game, then that tells there is hope and future for the game. Now let's talk about the competitions. Recently there was international competition then. It was in Coast, and you told me Kenya did quite okay in terms of results. So take us through that particular tournament, or rather championship that was held there. What was it about, and what next for Kenya?
Yeah, late May, just like 3 days before FASU, we had our fourth beach football championship at Nyali, at a beach called Tradewinds, where we had local universities who attended, and also a team from Uganda. There were 2 teams, the national team and also we call it the Bank of Uganda. So they attended, but Kenyatta University emerged the overall winners. So after Kenyatta University, number 2 was Technical University of Mombasa. Then number 3 was United States International University, USIU. But we also had Taita Taveta, who were number 4. And many of the medals came back to Kenyatta University. I think Uganda overall was number 2 if you are looking at the nations that visited. Yes. And after that, FASU, we are glad that for the first time, FASU adapted Woodball. So we did like a demonstration. So we demonstrated Woodball to many countries. We had Egypt on board, Zimbabwe on board, and also we had Ghana on board. We had four to five countries that we introduced football to. And then in terms of performance, that was in May, but during after FASU, we went to Ndeje University, where Taifa Woodball Clubs Corporate, my partner here, Mr. Litaba, we played a double and we were number 3. We came back with bronze. So, and for your information, winning a medal in Uganda is not easy, because this is what they do every day. So we had a bronze, 2 bronze during the corporates for the doubles. Doubles is where you play as a pair. If I play my ball towards the gate, then you finish. So we do in turns. We also had David Mungai, who came back home with a cash prize of Ugandan money, 100,000. So they were giving number 1, number 2, and number 3. That is the player who was in every pool but became back with a silver and a bronze. We also had Mary Atieno, that is a Kenyan player in Uganda, who also had a bronze.
Okay.
But generally, in terms of performance, we are improving every day.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Litaba, what makes Uganda so special?
Well, Uganda started playing at the same time as Kenya. In fact, by 2011, when we met at the Africa Games, University Games, FASU, in Uganda, we were at par. In fact, I think we did better than them in that competition. But they got a strong person as the president of the federation, and he was willing to support the game. He's from Ndeje University. So he was willing to support the game, and they also ran around, looked for partners, and so they started playing the game seriously. The advantage they have also there is that the Ministry of Sports is the same as the Ministry of Education. So once the Ministry of Sports accepts a sport, it's very easy to introduce it to the schools.
Okay.
But for us, the ministries are different. So we have tried to introduce to the schools, but it has proved a bit difficult. But we are not giving up, because a few schools are already playing, and we hope more schools will be able to play. So that is Uganda, but I believe we will reach their level and even surpass.
All right, gentlemen, your closing remarks as we wind up.
Woodball is a simpler version for golf. We welcome you all to play Woodball. Woodball will take us places. I believe as a national coach that someday we will sit and say that we wrote history, that we took Woodball just from Nairobi to every part of the country, and we will play flying our Kenyan flag higher.
So we welcome you all to come and try Woodball. As we said, small children can play 5 years up to 90 years. Anyone can play because it doesn't require a lot of energy. So we welcome you to come and try. We are based at Kenyatta University. That's where our headquarters is. So you can visit us at the sports department. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time. It's always a pleasure, and we wish you all the best as you endeavor to bring, Woodball and spread the gospel of Woodball to the world and many parts of the Kenya. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was Mr. Samuel Litaba and of course Titus Mboya, Kenya Woodball Secretary General and Head Coach, just giving us some insight about the past, present, and the future of Woodball. Of course, it's a conversation that we'll continue to keep on following to see the performance of Kenya as even We wish them all the best as they endeavor to bring the best